was able to deliver that win. Now let's get ready here for game number 2. In terms of battlegrounds, what are we wanting to see here from Team Freedom?
If I'm Team Freedom, I want to try to take the fight to them. I would go to a battleground like Infernal Shrines. We've seen them pull some shenanigans off on Sky Temple, so I'm really curious to see if they're going to try to out-macro or flat-out outplay Leftovers.
What about BOE? Yesterday we had that Sergeant Hammer composition that was destructive against the Leftovers.
That is true, but that was with Medivh as well, and I don't think you're going to be able to get something like that. To me, I think maybe you bring them to the Dragonshire, see what's up on that map.
Dragonshire, do you think Nazmus can take on Potty Boss in that top lane? Because it's mostly about those top laners there.
Yeah, honestly, not sure. Like, the Potty Boss is looking really, really good in the matchup, but Nazmas, he's no slouch either. I think it actually goes pretty even up there, but yeah, that is the map that I think we're going to see pretty soon here.
Usually comes down to those rotations, so we'll be seeing which battleground we're going to pretty darn soon. I know Team Freedom taking a breather here, waiting a second, trying to figure out how they want to approach going into the next match. But is there any other compositions that you want to see from Team Freedom? What is their bread and butter? Do they try to take Tracer themselves, maybe?
Maybe go for the Tracer. I actually would like to see Zugrug on Garrosh. Some of the most convincing and amazing play we've seen from them is out of the Garrosh. The ability to throw someone out of position, get the follow-up stun, and a taunt also that definitely seems to be a strength that Team Freedom excels at. If they can get that hero, I do like their chances for game 2.
Well, you guys are abuzz with Twitter right now as we talk about the Losers Finals. Obviously, Cho'Gath being picked exploded everyone on top of the Twitter feed. Let's go ahead and check out Heroes Esports right now with the hashtag HGC. It's so hard to choose Team Freedom or the Leftovers. I know Leftovers are trying their best to make a case for, hey, you should cheer for us. We play Cho'Gath.
Same.
It's very difficult. Even as an NA representative, I'm over here, I'm like, Team Free.
Cho'Gath.
Yeah, like
Maybe one game.
They look so good, and they're just so fun to watch. Love this team.
Well, from Faded Music, a Team Freedom versus Leftovers rematch time. They're both looking so good today. I'm not sure who will win. I don't know either, man. Going into another tweet. Woo! Gosh. Saying woo is always hard to read. Let's go, Team Freedom. Make it to the finals, HGC Western Clash. If Team Freedom was able to make it to the grand finals, it would be North America versus Europe, and that would be an exciting way to end our entire weekend.
I think that would surprise a lot of people. If you look at the objective numbers, if you look at the history between the regions, I think a lot of people expected from the top 4 on to pretty much look like another week of EU HGC League play. But Team Freedom has definitely shown up big time. I think this is the dark horse of NA for sure. I don't think anyone expected them to make it this far. But as long as they keep the pressure off of themselves and they keep smiling, I want to see how they're looking as far as morale goes going into game 2. I think we could see EU versus NA.
So what's so fantastic about both these two teams is the fact that they've had a change-up in mentality moving into this entire tournament. Both of them. Team Freedom, last Western, they were saying like they entered into it being very cocky, and then they have issues. But now they're very humble. They move into this tournament and they perform very well. Leftovers, same sort of thing. It seems like this is like the battle of level-headed teams, and it's fantastic.
That's something that's great to have in your own play yourself. So think about that here as we head into game number 2 for our Battleground in this best of 5 series. Leftovers currently up 1-0, and they actually select Battlefield of Eternity. Team Freedom will walk away with the first pick.
I like this choice for Leftovers. We've seen them play this Battleground a few times over the course of day 2 and day number 3. They seem to be able to handle the immediate race really well, but there's also the long con when both teams are just kind of standing around. Their macro play, their ability to take the bottom fort off of the Bruiser camp, last time we saw them on this Battleground, allowed them to move down and get the takedown on heroes like Kirsten and Decker Kane. I like this map for them. They seem at home.
Yeah, they really do enjoy brawling. It's something that they focus on in Europe as well. Let's see if they're going to take away that Sergeant Hammer, though, because, again, that was an issue. Granted, you did mention the Medivh was something paired with it last time.
Hanzo also going to be a point of contest on this map. We all know how powerful he is here on Battlefield of Eternity. That never outmatched allows your team to race very, very well. But we've also seen Raynor show up quite frequently on this map. In addition, Leftovers love running the Li Ming here too. So that might be something that Team Freedom don't want to give them. Phoenix obviously going to be another hero that is a point of contest. As far as Warriors, gentlemen, which ones do you think are going to come out for these teams?
I mean, Murden is a go-to for me on this Battleground. He does so much so well. He's able to buy space if you need to on the Immortal phase. He can force the initiation. But Team Freedom, they're choosing Diablo, which has been the main star of this tournament.
The premier gank warrior. He loves to engage and set up plays, win the team fight before it effectively starts, but you're going to give up your rel. Nazmus did a great job on that hero last game, but it's just when you're dealing with effectively 2 Cho'Gaths, it doesn't matter what hero you're on.
Urel Phoenix, a strong one too.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Team Freedom, though, they do have the opportunity to run a Deckard Cain at this point, and I think that would be wise considering the circumstances. Deckard Cain allowing you to just set up those potions in these long, stalled-out fights for the Immortal, for that chunk damage, and look at that. Deckard Cain and Hanzo, these are some fantastic picks for Team Freedom. If you're an NA fan, you got to be happy about that.
This 1 through 3 is a powerful foundation. They can really round it out with a little bit of damage, maybe a little bit more tankiness in that top lane for their 4th and 5th pick. Team Freedom got to be loving what they have. And over to the leftovers, anything that you're thinking about in terms of banning out? You have the option to ban out Blaze when you're Railsful in here.
I would definitely go for the ban on Blaze. You want to make sure when you go for those takedowns, that's exactly how it's going to end up playing out. They decide to ban out the Sergeant Hammer. I think they're already in a position to worry about why they banned Sergeant Hammer, though, because Hanzo's going to be able to force the issue. He can poke the Immortal safely from a distance without worrying about someone jumping on him, and it's going to put the onus on leftovers to make a move, so I feel like there's some overlap there in what they're doing.
There's the Muradin ban for Team Freedom, which is the logical choice. Trick, you said yourself that Muradin and Diablo kind of the big picks here for Warriors. So now, leftovers, you've got that main tank pickup as well. Your off lane's already locked in with that Yrel. You need a support. What's it going to be for Linked? There's the Malfurion. I think that's a good choice.
I'm actually a little surprised at that because we saw Malfurion screaming for Ice Block that entire game last go-round. Now they find themselves in position, but they do have Sanctification. Yes. Mopsio's Tyrael is insane.
The Tyrael coming out. One that you have to be careful with if your opponent has a ton of CC available. Diablo is scary by himself, but if you have that Sanctification ruined, we saw it earlier in the tournament, Bad Bunny not able to get off Sanctifications in the middle of team fights, and that really caused the demise of that match. But on BOE, you have a lot of room to wiggle. Blaze and Li Ming come out for Team Freedom, and they have gotten everything they need to be successful on this battleground.
I love those picks, for sure. You know, taking away the Li Ming from the leftovers especially.
I love the Blaze pickup because it targets Tyrael to me. Shadow Charge, Overpower, Jet Propulsion, that's all the time in the world to deny a key Sanctification and try to get that Tyrael trait value early in a team fight. I like that.
Ooh, the Greymane coming out for leftovers. That worries me a little bit. I mean, DAB is a wonderful player, but yesterday he seemed to fall flat when it came to that character.
You're absolutely right. It has been hit and miss so far. When it looks good, it looks great. But on the maps such as Tomb of the Spider Queen, it was very, very shaky. So I have to agree with you. It's making me feel a little bit uneasy myself.
Lauren, what are you thinking, man?
I'm a little concerned about the Greymane also, but it also gives, with respect to the battleground, leftovers an opportunity to force the macro issue. Like I was saying, Hanzo and now Li Ming, they're going to be able to safely poke that Immortal quite a bit. Greymane, if he's left to his own devices and the rest of the team goes over to defend, he can force an issue himself. So it does give them an added dimension, but I think Team Freedom got the better draft.
And if they can find Hanzo out of position, Greymane can shred him, so it's definitely an option. Let's go over to Jayhow and Gillyweed as we go into game number 2.
I'm pretty pumped for Battlefield of Eternity and to see if Lutano can get some resets. Are you? Or is it going to be Yoda?
I think Yoda, Li Ming, old school special. Gilly's too busy dancing back here. She's all excited for the resets.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm pumped.
I know. This right here, I think this is where Team Freedom finds their way back into the game. It seems like they got a much better draft and without the Cho'Gall cheese on the other side.
A lot of control over Mopsio's tanks again. Didn't quite work out for Method, especially when you have a backup of Tyrael that worked that well with that composition for leftovers in the last series. Every Sanctification went off. Every Sanctification netted a kill and saved his team. We'll see if they can do it again.
It's leftovers that find themselves up 1-0 as DAB. He will find himself on the Phoenix. Link, the all-star on this team, as well as Mopsio. He's going to be on the Malfurion. Blakitny, of course, on the Greymane. Mopsio on the front line with Tyrael, and then Podyboss on Yrel. That is leftovers.
Meanwhile, in the red, Yoda, he will be on Li Ming, looking for those resets. Nasmus on Blaze, Zugrug on the front line, slamming people to walls with Diablo. Lutano will be playing his Hanzo, and finally, collusion on Deckard Cain. It's Team Freedom!
Right now, already, right out of the gates, it's an interesting setup for these teams. Hanzo was up at the top, trying to see if maybe there was some early game structure damage in. It's something you can do with a Tyrael and a Phoenix and a Greymane. Move directly in, find some way to eat a few shots, get some extra shielding from Tyrael, get some early structure damage in. Instead, we're going to have the traditional 1-4 split. Now we're going to see Hanzo rotate down, and that might be just what Leftovers wants is they're actually shifting already right after that first wave.
Well, Leftovers is known for having some innovative early game strategies, and this is one of them. When you pull out someone else's solo laner, And then you bring people up for the gank, especially when it's Blaze and you can body block the jet propulsion, but Nasmus lives through it, staying alive, dropping the spray. Now Leftovers might be able to use that Greymane to try to get the Khazra camp in the top. He's also fantastic at being able to pick up camps along with getting that siege damage in.
Well, as you can see, we do have those StarCraft folks in here. They'll find familiar faces with Phoenix on one side, but we got our own Blaze from the Nexus here on the side for Team Freedom. Right now, he is going to hold point as the oil goes down, sitting here with Lutano, afraid of that rotation up from the rest of Team Freedom. Leftovers are going to walk away.
Gosh, it's too bad that our StarCraft fans missed the game earlier with Sarah Kerrigan taking on Raynor on the other side. Spoiler alert, Raynor won that one, but it was a close one.
Now with this camp picked up, we've seen the shifting of these rotations, and it seems to be favoring Team Freedom. Leftovers just missed out on that kill, but they won't be done. Looking for more. Lutano, though, has that agility. He's going to hop on over. They get back. Some early structure damage is actually being accomplished here by Team Freedom. And when you said Leftovers, they do have those innovative strategies with that Greymane, but they've been unsuccessful so far.
Yeah, so when they did that versus other European teams, it also didn't work out in their favor. Good teams know how to respond appropriately to it. Beautiful warp out, avoids the orb damage, as well as the root, which would have set up possibly for first blood for Team Freedom. Now Leftovers rotating in. Don't want to give up all of the camp presence at once. Would love to get some more sieging done or have the better setup around the Immortals due to Freedom having to defend this before they can get there themselves. We'll have Immortals happening in just over 30 seconds.
That route by Collusion was so good that Yoda's timing on his abilities were off. He's like, oh wait, you caught all 4 of them? I thought at least somebody would be exiting this area. So Collusion will continue to see if he can make those plays on the bigger moments when you have more of that follow-up, but definitely his presence being felt around every form of this map so far.
It is important to note, though, with Stay a While, something for Mopsio to consider when he's trying to go in and enable that Greymane, because if Leftovers try to play as aggressively as they would like to with this Yrel, Greymane, and Tyrael, who both are able to provide more supporting Yrel in that Aegis of Light armor, Tyrael in the Sanctification later on, and the shield, it is possible that things can get messed up by the Decker Cane, just as the idea might be getting messed up for Leftovers if Mopsio didn't get out of there, but he does make it out. Team Freedom defend their Immortal, but it does sustain some damage.
What we saw there from Zugrug on that Diablo was exactly what you hope to get. You try and get those stuns into the walls right around the stuns from the Immortal. Just barely off as Mopsio was able to make it out, but Lutano came in with a scatter arrow. However, Mopsio lucky to be alive, I think, in that situation, but the playmaking potential of a Diablo around the defensive side of the Immortals, and there's a scatter arrow. I didn't even see it bounce there. Mopsio eating all the damage, gets the Eldruins out. Lutano coming over to make the plays. He will get the takedown, but he might pay with his life. Doesn't have agility.
Didn't have it, dies. 1-for-1 trade for the team. Linked now in danger, in deep as a Malfurion. Not necessarily where you want to be as a Malf, but DAB keeping the slows, keeping Team Freedom here from getting back to base even longer. Lets Leftovers rotate up despite losing their Tyrael. The rest of the team putting in so much damage to Team Freedom, force them back, and Leftovers force the swap.
Gilly, the amount of skill I'm seeing displayed by some of these players, they are playing at their absolute best. All these players trying to make plays for their team, and everything seems to be hinging on a thread every time we get into these engagements. No Hanzo at level 7, which means the race is not that significant right now, and it looks like Leftovers in the lead to take the first Immortal here on Battlefield of Eternity.
All Team Freedom can do is bring this down to a manageable situation. With less shields, they have less issue before the Immortal gets into a melee position, and they can finish it out. Not losing too much structures is their goal right here. They're currently sitting even in experience that will undoubtedly shake things up with the Immortal if Leftovers can get things done with it, but it is an earlier Immortal, so it's not the end of the world for Team Freedom.
Several tools to deal with it as 7 is finally picked up. Hanzo in this area does have trouble finding the exact angles. Got to make sure you go to that geometry class, and Lutano, he knows just how to do that. As Mopsio and team, they start to work their way in, see if they try and get that Eldruins going in, and here it comes.
Right on top of Lutano too, has the wall out. Everyone stays safe, but it buys space for the Immortal on the fort. That's the important thing. They can rotate back up now. Nasmus comes in too. Let's see if Team Freedom can get a rotation in on one of these players. A flank possibly with a combo, but Leftovers leave just before the fort goes down. Befort. It's sadly not down just yet, but Leftovers should be able to clear that out pretty soon.
So that is a large chunk of experience that Leftovers will likely send somebody back for. Mopsio, he's just trying to make sure he makes it out alive. And sometimes in that race towards 10, depending on the timing of that next Immortal, since there wasn't a long stagger time for that, then getting this experience can get them that lead towards 10. It might buy them an advantage to help try and move this map along. And Zugrug and team, I think they know they can't give up any position at all.
Exactly, that's why they are being willing to fight over this camp. But now Yoda gets some damage done to him now, but gets back behind the front line. Podyboss going in, diving deep for that, turns around, gets a combo from Yoda, has to run away. The whole rest of the team had focused on just bringing down Diablo, takes him out. He's gone for 20 seconds, and the body blocks are there on Nasmus too.
Podyboss is a wild man. He is just diving anywhere and everywhere, saying, I dare you to try and kill me, and unsuccessful has been the name of the game. Diablo 92 souls, so it's not like he's lacking for that extra health and survivability. But we'll have 8 more to go to get that. And when that fort fell, you can see the jump in experience as well as that kill. Now Leftovers will have that race to 10 firmly in their hands. We'll see if they can go. But for Team Freedom, I believe the position of the Immortal should be in their favor, at least at the start of the halftime show, so that Hanzo can get the arrows in on his side of the map.
Yeah, it is. And Leftovers can either just choose to race along with that, force it fast, and hope that they get the next half while they still have 10 in their favor, or possibly coming in with that 10, seeing if they can get some picks, some kills, snowball this game even further. It looks like they're going to choose the former of that option. Race this down quickly, but Team Freedom wins that race initially, but with heroic abilities here is going to have to back out.
They're going to get this camp to buy time in the top lane. They're going to have to deal with a double camp pressure in the bottom, and if they let that push in too much, level 10 is here. Leftovers, they'll also be able to race down the Immortal momentarily. It looks like they took up a defensive positioning. Surprising, considering they already had the 10, or at least were near that, and everybody showed up bottom. So using that Greymane, they'll get that. Next Immortal will push the bottom as well.
Immortal drops down. Heroics almost here for Team Freedom. Malfurion still considering. Linked, not sure if he wants Tranquility for the extra heals for the team, or Twilight Dream just to bring someone else down. Maybe if Li Ming got a little too aggressive with her Calamities, could get the Twilight Dream there, but sticking with Tranquility to give heals for the team. That and Sanctification and the Aegis of Light from those Avenging Wraths should be a lot of safety for Leftovers as they start to move in. Heroic abilities here for Team Freedom.
We have a moment. I really want to highlight that play by Nasmus on that Blaze. Wait a minute, hold on. Zugrug, he's going in. There's going to be the Dragon Arrow. That hit Wave of Force out as well. Now Yoda and team, they're on the retreat. Salvo's out. Everybody says, let's hop in a bunker. Make sure to avoid that damage. They back away. Sanctification comes in. They're going in.
It was enabling everyone to jump on top of that bunker, but not in a position to body block people as they escape. But again, like with the first Mortal and the push in the top lane, all just getting aggressive to let the Immortal do its thing, taking down the second fort for Team Freedom. Only keep structures now remaining and giving Leftovers a firm lead in this game.
Good news for Team Freedom. They will be on even talent tiers by the time the next Immortal comes in, or awfully close to it. So for them, they need to make sure not to give up anything. In the meantime, if they can pick up something, that would be great. But obviously, they find themselves a level behind. They just need to find their way back in. If they can get a pick, you see the mini-map, Greymane is hiding. He is not showing to the minions. The minute he shows to the minions, the minute he reveals that there's a potential advantage for Team Freedom, DAB gets sniffed out. Got to be careful that Zugrug doesn't dive under that. With Greymane showing, they know that they have a numbers advantage top. They have to be careful on how long they stay here, because Greymane will push in that bottom lane and you'll start to lose structures.
Yeah, just get free siege. We see Nasmus going back already so that he can show up to the party there. Some of Leftovers choosing going off of the map for Team Freedom is worrying enough that the rest are going to follow and go along with. They just get the camp in the top lane to maybe get some siege done there. The problem is 13. Leftovers are very close to it for the next Immortal phase. That is the situation when you start to fall behind. These talent tiers around every single objective phase is making tough decisions around which talent tiers you fight into without having, and when you have to give up the objective just to try to get experience back. But even if you catch up in experience, then you lose a giant shielded Immortal, and then you lose more structures. And Team Freedom are out of structures to lose unless they're going to start having catapults push against them, and that's a whole different ballgame.
I was surprised at the approach there. They didn't find that aggression. The minute they spotted DAB at the top, yes, there's towers there, but you're tanking up as Diablo. I'm surprised they didn't pull the trigger because they already knew Greymane was bottom. Now not getting that pick, they conceded more experience in the bottom in the form of that tower. They conceded more control of this game over away to Leftovers. For Team Freedom, though, they do find themselves in a position to get this halftime show underway. But they have to be careful. The minute this breaks out, they won't have 13. They might be conceding another Immortal.
Well, they back off to safe positioning until they know where the swap is going to take place. Leftovers, though, starting to move in. No holy ground to stop some of Team Freedom in these chokes, but it does give more of the shields for the team. Lutano gets chased down. Blakitny takes him out, laying waste to Team Freedom in this fight. Collusion all the way moved to the back. Team Freedom separated from each other, and without their Hanzo, things are falling apart. Mopsio dives in too, but Yoda teleports to safety.
Just able to get out of there, and now Leftovers turns their attention to the Immortal, trying to take a firm grasp on this game. With both forts down in the top and bottom, they can now start looking at keeps. Team Freedom did get that Immortal down about halfway in terms of that shield, so they'll be able to defend somewhat more relatively easier, but this is still very threatening. They'll have 13 by the time this comes in. But for Leftovers, they're looking to accomplish a lot here as we approach the 12 to 13 minute mark, which is around the mid game. Or it might be starting to be that late game when we look at the final timer of this one.
Leftovers are making sure to bring their minions with them so that they can soak up some of these structure shots. Team Freedom instantly sent Li Ming to the bottom because they do need that 13, because it's very likely that they look for a re-engage off the back of this Immortal. Either they clear it out and then go in after trying to catch someone, or they move around for a flank. You see pings in the vent. That's the best flank positioning too for Leftovers. You see Podyboss in his positioning, making sure that he can Avenging Wrath away or knock someone back with the hammer. If that's the case, it's his job to make sure. Zugruk tries to go in. We see the root does land onto Mopsio, but it's only Mopsio, and Podyboss doing what he loves to do, dive in deep to the back line.
The minute bunker went down, Savo came out. Now all of a sudden, Collusion, he's on the back foot. He's going to be the first to fall. Leftovers is going in. There's the body block. Zugruk, the roots are going to land onto him. He's just trying to get to the other side of the wall. Podyboss says, don't worry, I got a backdoor pass as he comes in and takes down Diablo. Nasmus somehow able to escape, but Leftovers, the damage is done. The keep is down, and now that Immortal on the core won't be able to accomplish much. But Leftovers getting that crucial keep at this point in the game.
DAB set lasers to kill there, getting so many kills for the team, opening up this game and blowing it out of proportion for Team Freedom now. A 2-level deficit for them now, and hard choices to be made without a keep catapult in the next phase of the Immortal, and Leftovers getting 16 and smartly backing out from that before any of the respawn timers could even hope for Team Freedom to get kills there. It's a long road to recovery if Team Freedom is going to win this game too.
2-level lead here for Leftovers, and they have started to put the pressure on with that 5-1 kill lead. You know they've established dominance so far. We obviously see a change-up, devastating charge. Nazos has been very aggressive in the choke points, getting those stuns, but maybe he feels he needs more. So getting that devastating charge to try and do some damage of his own. 1 stack so far. We'll see if he can get more. There's going to be number 2. No flip back in. They got to be careful here. They are still down those 2 levels.
The engagements for Team Freedom have not really been working out for them. A lot of that is that there's sanctification that's always available and a lot of supporting for Leftovers, but what is it that Team Freedom needs to do if they're going to start finding success in these team fights? Because you see Zugra go in, try to get a kill. He gives the combo to the team. They have Deckard behind that, but it just feels almost lackluster. It's definitely not netting any resets for Li Ming.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be difficult because Leftovers is not giving them the opportunity. They continue to find ways to manipulate the map. This is a double camp pressure in the bot lane. You're denying experience from the enemy team in that top lane because it's all hands on deck for Team Freedom. If they're going to take a fight, they're going to have to do it under their own keep. If Zugrug can flip somebody over and isolate them, but these sieging potentials there. Blakitny going in, Dragon Arrow, here it comes.
Yeah, but a Nature's Cure stops that right away. Sanctification 2, bunker in the back. Nasmus staying there. Stay a while and listen to bail him out. See if he can get the turnaround. They had Lightning Breath, they had Stay a While and Listen at the same time. Flip over, push in. Blakitny takes damage, but so too does Yoda, as he wants to keep bringing out all of his abilities to get kills, but the resets just are not coming to Team Freedom.
Team Freedom got the interrupt on the salvo. Whether that was a good or bad thing in the long run, we'll find out soon. The positioning is in favor of Team Freedom to minimize the shield, at least if they aren't able to contest beyond this. Having the Hanzo racing here. Greymane on the other side is doing an amazing job for Team Freedom. They've brought this down somewhat, but they still do not have that 16. They still are unable. There's going to be the dismount onto Zugrug. He's holding position for now. The roots go down. Zugrug walks away as the roots in kind come back from Deckard and Collusion on the other side.
Zugrug sitting at 43 souls. Not nearly as tanky as he used to be. Now body blocked away from the rest. Blown up in the blink of an eye. Purification salvo now coming out, but the bunker's there.
Opsio went
Tyrael goes down.
There we go. There's going to be the explosion.
Oh.
Asmus, he's holding on point. Yoda trying to get the reset, unable to do so. DAB comes in with another kill. The rest of Team Freedom, they are walking away. It is a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Leftovers, and they continue to dominate this. There's a little bit of love action going around.
If you love it, Tyrael, like I do, then you're rooting for the Leftovers. But if you're a fan of NA, then Team Freedom needs your cheers because they have not had any sort of success in the team fights the way they would like in this game. And then going to Tomb in game 1 and having to play against a vexing Cho'Gall that they themselves have played before this series is a rough one for Freedom thus far, but Leftovers, with all the momentum that they have gained over their reverse sweep, over Method now, get another strong Immortal and are preparing to push against Team Freedom.
Team Freedom has to look for a fight behind this Immortal. They cannot afford to wait for this to go all the way to the keep. The structure damage on the keep wall is already down, so they will look to take this fight here momentarily. There's this sighting by Mopsio. There's going to be the Eldruins. This is a not tanky Zugrug as he's trying to hold on the front line. The bunker goes down. He sneaks out the back door, but Pody Boss going in. That's going to be the takedown. Blood Kidney, he's trying to look for more as he goes in, and right now Leftovers in full assault mode.
He goes for the throat and he's trying to cut the jugular. Stay a while and listen, but now Mopsio moves to the other side of Collusion. Blood Kidney finds it and executes, bringing down Hanzo. Collusion will be next, and Leftovers can move on, take out this keep, take out the core, and take game 2.
Leftovers on the victory march, finding themselves one game away. You could already see the sprays earlier in this game. It was the sprays of Dignitas, maybe a sign of things to come, saying, we are coming for you. And right now, Leftovers, they are just trying to end this. DAB getting a little cheeky right now, but make no mistakes about it. Leftovers in full control over the first 2 games of this series.
You know, there's a lot to be said about dropping down to the lower bracket and having to play several series in. Some people say, oh, it's going to be exhausting, you know, the energy levels. But some people say that that energy just fuels you game after game. Team Dignitas, it's happened to them probably more times than I can even remember. But here we're seeing it. We saw it when the Zealots played Team Dignitas. They almost got the win there, and Leftovers now are 1 game away from going to the grand finals.
Everything looking good for them so far. They seem to be able to play everything everybody else isn't playing so far between the Cho'Gall and the Tyrael. But we are going to send it back over to Trixler and team to break down game number 2.
Leftovers seem to be putting Team Freedom and their hopes and dreams in a cage here as they continue to shut them down and go up 2-0. That game felt like small advantages piling up on top of each other until you blew up in the late game.
I would agree with that. In game 1, I feel like Leftovers outdrafted Team Freedom, and they can just kind of ignore that and move on to game 2. But in game 2, I feel like they got outdrafted and outplayed. I think there was just a difference in how they wanted to go for a team fight. With the Diablo, I think they would have been better off with the Johanna, because anytime Diablo charged in, sure, it's nice to have Blaze along as a buddy, but it's hard to do any damage when you're running away like your hair's on fire because Blood Kidney's flanking around with Greymane. It was just insane. They just never were able to step forward.
I think you're absolutely right about the outplayed portion. I've got a replay here for you, ladies and gentlemen, and this one in particular, it's just to talk about the team fighting strength of the Leftovers. We've been talking about this all weekend, but if you look at this setup so far, the Immortal pushing in for the Leftovers, everyone on Team Freedom are set up appropriately, but Zugrug looks for an engage as the Mortal steps in. You'll notice Potty Boss also jumps on the backside, tries to actually hit Zugrug back in with the W, but there is the engage. Zugrug is caught out a little bit here. Phoenix doing a little bit of damage, but nothing really noteworthy. And what happens is I just want everyone to watch how clean this engagement from the Leftovers is. You know, a lot of the times when you look at these fights, we'll see big talent advantages or predictability big experience advantages, but at this point it's only a single level. Yes, the Immortal is tanking the keep and everything like that, but just watch the cleanliness of the dive. Potty Boss jumps in, Mopsio moves in as well. The big scan from DAB onto 4 targets of Team Freedom, and then the Sanctification to follow it up. Off of this play, Team Freedom, the Leftovers continue to push in, they get kills off of this, they get the keep, set themselves up to the level 16 mark, and really just snowball their victory in this game. The Leftovers are so clean when it comes to team fighting, especially with a composition that's high execution like this, with the Tyrael, with the Sanctifications.
It really comes back to what we were talking about at the start of this entire series, of how those front lines need to be on the same page together. And so far, Potty Boss is putting that on clear display. He jumps in, he has Tyrael to follow him up, he gets the armor in as well, where on the other side, you just have so much trouble there for Zugrug. So hopefully going into game number 3, that can be cleaned up for Zugrug, as Nasmus and him are not cutting on that front line.
That's exactly what they're going to need to do, because I feel like Lutano needs to mail a postcard to the front line anytime he needs peels with how far away Zugrug has been, especially in game number 2. They either need to go for a more dive composition, or they need to play back and allow their back line to do damage.
All right, we'll be right back with game at number 3, and we'll see if Team Freedom can break themselves free in this best-of-5 series.
We have forgotten what makes us strong.
The Heroes of the Storm Global Championship is back. By watching and cheering with Bits on Twitch, you can unlock new chat emotes and exclusive in-game items, all while supporting your favorite HGC teams. Bits are a virtual good you can buy on Twitch to cheer, celebrating amazing moments and amplifying your voice in chat. And during HGC, when you cheer for your favorite team, a share of the bits spent will go to that team. As you cheer, you can unlock loot chests, mounts, and exclusive emotes when personal and global cheering goals are met. There is more loot than ever, but as new community items are launched, the old ones will disappear. Get them all before they're gone for good. Right below the video player, you can track team-specific and global progress, check out your individual goals, and see leaderboards that highlight each team's total cheers and the top individual cheerers. To get started, buy some bits by clicking on the bits gems at the bottom of chat and selecting Get Bits. Then, when a team pulls off an amazing play, click on the bits gem in chat, select the team logo, add the number of bits you want to use, plus a message to cheer them on. You'll summon a team-themed animated cheer mode to celebrate the moment loud and proud in chat. The more bits you use, the cooler and more animated the cheer mode. And lastly, be sure to link your Blizzard and Twitch accounts to claim your loot. We'll see you in the Nexus.
Welcome back to the Western Clash. The last North American hope is on their last legs, and they will need to stand tall here if they want to stay in the tournament. What does Team Freedom have to do to beat the Leftovers?
They have to go back to basics. Anytime we've seen them look their most happy, their most confident, they said we've been winning by accident. I think they're feeling a lot of pressure right now. If they do lose this game, if they do lose this series, they are out of the tournament. They need to just ignore that. Play each game as an individual thing and try to have fun.
Call it. Anything to add to that?
On the other side of things, I completely agree with you, but they also have a bunch of pocket picks that they could look to use in this series, and I think if you're at this point, that's definitely time to use them.
I think one thing they can do too is take the energy of the crowd. They are here to support them. They have showed up here on a Sunday to really cheer for North America, so make sure to be empowered and use that to their advantage. All right, so we're getting ready here for our third battleground. I want to see where exactly Team Freedom is intending to go. Will they go with the first pick strategy, set up a foundation, or will they be choosing a battleground where they can have a map-specific type of strategy? So let's go ahead and get ready for this. So let's prepare here. What map do you want to see?
Well, I hope for Team Freedom's sake that they decide to go for the first pick. I hope we see a battleground where both teams can just try to team fight. I think they need a composition that works to their strengths and they can all be on the same page, because anytime they look discoordinated at all, Blakidney decimates the backline.
Well, I'm hearing that we are ready for game number 3. Let's go to the battleground. The battleground chosen will be Infernal Shrines. First pick is picked up by Team Freedom. Leftovers have chosen this battleground. This is the one that allows you to fight, Colin.
Absolutely. There's the single point of contest. I love seeing these two teams fight for one single point. You know, we've seen some different styles of drafts on this map in particular method. The ones running that Zarya, they run Malthael, but as far as Leftovers and Team Freedom are concerned, it's basically anything that can show up on this map in particular.
Alexstrasza.
Yep.
She's been big the entire weekend. She's big on this battleground, especially for Europe. We've seen it in North